What's happening, everybody? Hello and welcome. In today's video, we're talking about Evanescence because they've got a brand new album out right now called Sanctuary. Actually, this one might be about a month old or so, but I'm hearing real good things about this album, and I'm inspired because this band has stood the test of time. Now, I've run into Amy Lee a couple times in my career of doing this. Actually, the first time she ran into me, we were at some kind of craft services table playing some sort of festival for some local radio station. I think it was out in the Midwest somewhere. And you just line up. It's like a buffet thing. And it's just all walks of life back there, all just waiting to get their deli meats or whatever the hell they were serving us at the time. And she bumped into me and she's like, "Oh, you're tall." And I'm like, "Oh, geez, wow, you're kind of short." I guess I'm just really tall. And I just I kind of looked at her. I'm like, wow, okay, this is kind of a mismatch back here because in the early 2000s, like every hard rock or metal or new metal band at the time had some kind of angle. There was some kind of wild, extreme look to everybody. And in the sea of these giant men with tattoos and face paint and everything was this little girl. Well, I wouldn't say little, but she was just at least a girl, which is was a little not odd because obviously there was female artists and everything at the time, but like nobody really knew of her. Every band there was kind of in its infancy stage of possibly just breaking into the mainstream or becoming some sort of national act at the time. I'm not sure if Evanescence were considered a national act at that time, but we were all kind of touring, the U.S. market. I don't think many of us, if any of us, really were going overseas, more than once a year, if that. Anyway, we got to talking and everything, and I'm like, oh man, she's such a sweet, kind person, and we weren't even talking about music or what band you're in or whatever. And oftentimes, like when you're backstage with bands like this and, you're new, it's you kind of, I don't know, it's kind of like sharing resumes with people. Like it's often like people kind of feeling each other out, and like the politics of band life has always fascinated me because there's always like feelers out about other artists being like, should I care about you? Are you the next trending thing? Are you up and coming? What kind of tour can I get on with you? And it kind of sucks because you had your guard up. I have no idea what it's like nowadays. I've been out of bands for years. I would imagine it's even more difficult. But back in the day, there was a lot of feelers going out there. But I didn't even consider that Amy Lee was in a band. I thought maybe she was working for a band, maybe like a roadie or tech or, possibly doing some kind of merch stand or something. I had no idea who she was. But we talked for a good 10, 15 minutes in line. And while we just kind of stood there and ate or whatever, and then she finally turned to me and she asked me, she said, "Hey, what time are you going on?" And I don't remember what our slot was, but I told her and she's like, "Oh, okay, cool." And then she told me her slot. I'm like, "Oh, nice. You're in a band too?" And she's like, "Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah." And, luckily I don't think we had to travel the next day or we had like a day off in between. So we were able to like hang out at the festival for a little bit. And I saw her perform and I was just like sitting there from like the side of the stage or wherever I was. I think it was side. I don't know, whatever. It doesn't matter. I was watching her perform and I was like amazed. I'm like, wow. I'm like, this girl's voice is absolutely incredible. The clarity, like her projections, like everything was just like so strong and so vivid. And the emotion she brought to her vocals, I was like, this is something wild. I'm like, this girl, like this band is going somewhere. And like I said, at the time, everything was kind of gimmicky, and I could shit on music nowadays all I want and say, "Oh, it's formulaic," and there's a system to all of it and everything. But like the truth of the matter is there was a system to music back then too. Like everybody's following the trends. Everybody's was trying to do their thing and get in line with what the next best thing was, and it's kind of, I mean, music's always kind of been that way, I suppose. But she was truly, Evanescence was truly doing something different. It was in line with the trend of like heavy music at the time, but like they had a natural powerhouse of a vocalist that was just something so uniquely different. And the way that she owned the stage as well, like it was just like a complete difference in demeanor from how I was talking to Amy backstage, which I wouldn't consider meek or anything, but just kind of like a lot more chill and friendly and like kind of down to earth, to completely going up there and just owning the stage that she was on. And yeah, she absolutely killed it. So from that moment on, I've been like, I got to keep my eye on what Amy and Evanescence are doing. And throughout the years, I've heard a lot of their music, and but also, it's just I've kind of lost touch too. But I mean, they've been around for so long. They've been continuing to be, this nonstop force for decades at this point. Like think about that festival. That festival is put on by some radio station that probably doesn't exist anymore. And half the bands on that bill were going on to play clubs that haven't existed in 10 years. And then 90% of those bands probably don't even exist anymore. You know, staying alive in this landscape is a very difficult thing to do. Maybe now more than ever, where it just is like so difficult to become profitable in any sphere of the arts. Honestly, it's just it's inspiring to see. And from my understanding, this album, Sanctuary, kind of goes back to its roots from maybe a sound structure point of view or structural point of view. I don't know. I haven't heard anything, but we're going to check it out right now. Let's pull it up over here and let's get into it. We're starting off with a song called Beautiful Lie. All right. Beautiful Lie.
I don't belong to you. So don't tell me what to do. Sick of the feeling I'm lying here pleading while you slither over what's mine. I am the power, wake up, say it louder, it's time. I don't wanna live my life feeding off a beautiful lie. Baby, this is your war, but it's killing the both of us. Baby, this is your war. I don't belong to you. No one can change the truth. Don't be afraid of the monster you made when what goes around does come around. Your words have no meaning. Is that why you're screaming so loud? I don't wanna live my
Check this out.
life feeding off a beautiful lie. Baby, this is your life, but it's killing the both of us. Sick, sick, you're mine. Take the bait, refuse to wait. And all this time
It's nice. It's a little switch up.
waiting on you. When the only way was ever sick of all your lies, time to realize you got lost in the game and you lost your mind. So sick of everything, I'm drowning underneath, and it's all up to you if you wanna choose to waste your life, but you can't have mine. I don't belong to you. I don't wanna live my life feeding off a beautiful lie. Maybe I'm never. Maybe this will never be enough. Choking on a beautiful lie. Baby, this is your war, but it's killing the both of us.
All right, there it is. The album opens up with Beautiful Lie, and it is probably one of the more defiant songs that I've heard. And let me explain why. The Beautiful Lie, the angle of defying the comfortability, the thing that you have that keeps you afloat that you know is not 100% true, but it's made your life a little bit comfortable. I feel like we all deal with this in one way, shape, or form. And she could be talking about this from multiple different angles of a relationship. You know, I'm not going to go in this comfortable thing I have with you. I'm going to break from that. Or she could be talking about a societal thing. But I think in one way, shape, or form, we all deal with accepting that comfortable lie. And we have to choose on our own how defiant we want to be with that. Because, I mean, we all do it. We all have to. That's just the world that we live in. I mean, think about like your job. You know, that's the comfortable, beautiful lie right there. You know, you have a home, you have a roof over your head, and you've got food and everything. But like slowly but surely, the value of the currency is debased. I know I'm going in a weird direction, but bear with me for a second. So as time goes on, the idea of having this dream of just making more money over, make yourself more comfortable over and over, slowly gets debased and it becomes worth less and less. And it just feels more and more like just everyday life of just the grind that we all have to deal with is in itself is just like a form of like detached slavery in a way. It's like, okay, well, we're doing all this stuff and we're doing things to like, lie to ourselves to make ourselves feel like everything that's happening around us is okay. But I think in our heart, in our guts, like we understand like something has been taken away from us. And I'm just using like that one example because I feel like these lyrics could be taken in many different directions. But for me, I look at it as like just getting through in life, and what we do and what we make peace with to be comfortable with the thing that I think we all know in our hearts is kind of a lie. And it's defined because it's one of the most difficult things to stand up against. It's one of the most difficult things to fight back against because in essence, the thing that you're in is wrong. It's not right. It's not, it's against your values in some kind of way. But the reality of it is like you're living in it and you accept it to some degree, depending upon who you are as a person, because it still makes you comfortable. Is it a lover? That like you understand they might not be the person for you, but you're with them or her because it's a comfortable and it's a known experience and you've been together for years and you don't want to start over and maybe you're afraid of what else is out there or how much worse it can get. Is it your job that slowly starts to feel like it doesn't matter anymore and you're just going through the motions, But whatever it is, Amy's saying, I'm going to be defiant against this. I'm going to be defiant. This is your war. This is not mine. I'm going to break this comfortability and I'm going to go out no matter what the repercussions are. And I'm going to be defiant in my own. I think vocally, it seems like Amy really hasn't fallen off in any kind of way. Something happens naturally with vocalists that, have been pushing themselves for years. I think it just happens with everybody as you age, your tone and your projections and your timbre to some degree also changes. It's just what happens with old age. But she seems very strong in her projections. The choruses are absolutely beautiful. Sonically, this reminded me of some of the old classic Evanescence that I remember listening to from the first couple albums, where you have this. Actually, no, maybe it's not fair to say because I feel like Evanescence, to some degree, has always been pretty true to their sound. They've always had that massive wall of sound that kind of comes at you, and like it seems like it's a nightmare to mix. It seems like it's an absolute nightmare to mix. But what I've always really appreciated is that Amy's vocals come straight through as the anchor point in the music. When you can have layered piano and a bunch of crunchy, almost new metal style guitars. I guess maybe that's why they're considering this some of the older stuff. But it's her voice always shines through. Some of the standout performances sonically here for me, believe it or not, was the bass. I thought it was kind of cool. It was very bouncy. It was funky. It fit really nicely in line with the sharper guitar tones. And then, that pocket rhythm section with the bass working off the toms and everything just kind of gave it a little bit more of a funky, almost kind of dancier type of feel where it just made you not just want to rock out or be, stuck in your emotions with an overly dramatic ballad, but added like a nice little texture and symmetry to the more intensity parts of like the chorus with the piano and everything. It just kind of broke it up and made you want to shake your hips a little bit, for the younger folks. That was good. Beautiful Lie. I like that one. What's next? Damn, we're starting off hard, huh? That's interesting.
Where's the line? Where's the line?
Love the slipping in the minor.
Was there
Let's go.
ever a line? Where's the line? Where's the line? Somewhere under the blood, say you won't change your mind, 'cause they break everything you love, crush every dream into dust. Tell me when you've had enough. Tell me when you've had enough. Tell me when you've had enough.
Oh, I love it. All right, so tell me when you've had enough. We continue on, at least lyrically, with some of the same themes from the first song, where she is just rising against whatever issue that she's dealing with. Again, it can be applied to many different things. Where I think it's vague enough, but it's also poignant and also direct enough, where I feel like you can apply to many different things in your life and in her life, but also take value and stock from very personal situations, which I like. So we're on a theme of rebellion here, which is very, very cool. Sonically, the structure is, it had a couple surprises in there for me, which is very nice. I forgot about listening to the new Evanescence record for the first time. Oftentimes, when you hear a song over and over again, those like cool little parts just become so common to you because you're just expecting them and you know them. And especially like in this genre, in this vein of music, which I'm very familiar with, you start to kind of pick up on the structure very quickly. But there was a couple key switch ups here that I found very, I guess, I'll just say interesting. Especially as we moved into the chorus when we thought we were starting to crunch down a little bit. We got that phaser pedal thing going on where it kind of like, mutes out and then it kind of builds up into something else. I like how it went into that minor key and it became a little bit more of a ballad, and then it got a little bit more crunchy. We're full in on the groove factor on this album, which I'm definitely enjoying. Yeah, I've always enjoyed the groove factor of like early 2000s rock music. People used to give me shit for it all the time because I've always liked nu metal. All right, fuck it, man. I like it. All right, I always have liked it. I grew up on Rage Against the Machine. So bands like Limp Bizkit and stuff, when they came around, I wasn't like a massive fan or anything, but like I'd hear it and I'd be like, fuck yeah, man. I like grooving music, all right? Shoot me. Oh man, but when I used to play in metal bands, people used to give me shit. That's not real metal, man. I'm like, who gives a fuck? You can move your body, all right? Girls are gonna want to dance to it. All right, let's help some people out here. But yeah, this definitely has the groove factor. Raunchy bass on this one as well. We've switched tones completely. A little bit hidden in the mix. I think that might just come down to the mastering job. You really want to pull some of those natural clean highs from Amy's voice, and you want to have that be the dramatic anchor point. And unfortunately, when you do that with mastering, sometimes you lose a little bit of the sizzle on the cymbal. Now, this could be a direct production choice. I mean, it wouldn't surprise me if it is, to keep things tight and crunchy, and also add a little bit more to that groove factor. But it also wouldn't surprise me if in the mastering they just kind of lost a little bit of that sizzle there on the cymbals, which is fine. It adds a little bit more of a focal point, or focal point on some of the bass and gnarly guitar work here. Crunchy, groovy, defiant. Yeah, dig that one. And I love the slip in the minor key. Love it. I'm a sucker for the dramatics. What's next?
What have you done to me? You drained the life out of me till I don't know myself. When all your faith in reality fades away, who will you follow?
It's a hell of a hook.
Are we alone now? I can't find the way out. Keep waking in the same fever dream. A cure for desire. We're playing with fire. We're drawn to light. We're broken and blinded by
See what I mean? The symbols are kind of lost. Still hard as fuck though. That's nice. Oh. It's almost hesitant. And power. Still can surprise me all these years later. All right, so this one's my favorite so far. Who will you follow? This one is a mixed bag of everything, man. There's just something in here for everybody and every type of music. The dramatics are there, the crunchy guitar, the groove factor. This is just like this song feels like it's almost like Evanescence's entire career summed up into one song. Like if you were to like find somebody brand new to this band, and be like, hey, you want to check out this, this one song, and they could tell you like what they like about this song, you'd probably know like a dozen or so songs to recommend to them. It's crunchy, it's groovy, it's nostalgic as fuck. Come on, they know what they're doing. They're tickling some kind of itch with some of us millennials, or whoever's into music at the time. I like it though, man. It's very, very cool. Yeah, the cymbals kind of get lost in the mix a little bit. I'm starting to believe it's probably just due to the mastering techniques. There's always going to be trade-offs, when it comes to mastering, what sort of dynamic you're going for. And I feel like they still made the right choice in this one. It's just there is a good amount of a groove factor happening from what I'll call like the pocket percussion aspect of this band, which is just the drum and bass. You just lose a little bit of that hot top end, but whatever. I feel like they're making up for it with a lot of tom work, so those lower dynamics definitely come through. Very, very cool. I love how like raw and vulnerable Amy's voice is on this one. I think her vocals are absolutely fantastic. She goes and switches immediately from the minor, more dreary, vulnerable, raw, and stripped back vocals from when the piano in the beginning or the end towards the bridge, right into the chorus that is just so much more commanding and present. And not that it loses any place in the mix, because I feel like her voice, again, is still anchored. It's still front and center to the entirety of the thing. It's just she's taking us along for like this crazy emotional ride. And the dynamics of her vocals are fantastic. Now, outside of that, like lyrically, like I feel like these lyrics are also just as strong as her voice as well. This is actually some really cool writing from her. I don't know if this album is supposed to be linear or focus on one thing. And I'm going to do my best to keep, my personal politics and things like that out of the reaction. Nobody wants to hear about that shit. I don't care. We're all bored and sick and exhausted of all that. But I'm really starting to believe that this album might be leaning more towards that. And I'll try and be as vague as I can with my descriptions to not, I don't know, get anybody upset or whatever. But like, I think we're all just sick of politics, but it seems like we're leaning in that direction where she's finally coming outside, like almost like this song might be a direct answer to the first two tracks where she doesn't want to live in that lie, that comfortable lie. She's pulling herself out of something. She's being more defiant. She's starting to think for herself. And now that she's out of it, she's stuck in this world that is just confusing. She doesn't know what to trust. She doesn't know where she stands. And I feel like, come on, tell me that's not relatable. You wake up every day and you're like, all right, let's pop open the laptop. Let's see what the fuck's happening in the world. And like you hear a horrific story, you see one angle of a story, then another angle of a story. You're like, well, I don't know which one to believe and what kind of agenda is being pushed my way. And I feel like it's more difficult nowadays just to like think for yourself. It's because I think we're all so addicted to, having our own beliefs be reaffirmed to us. Like that feels fucking good. You know what I mean? Like take this video right now. All right. You're watching this reaction video right now because you like this song, you like this album, and you want somebody else, you want to see somebody else like this song. So you're just trying to reaffirm your feelings towards something. We all do it. There's absolutely nothing wrong with it. Fuck, man, any escape you can get from this shit that like brings you any kind of happiness, more power to you. You got to do what you can to get in this world. But I think that's what Amy's saying. It's difficult to separate yourself from a situation that is comfortable and then try and think for yourself, while still being defined and true to who you are as a person, and absorb the world that's happening around you and seeing, the different angles of how it's presented with different agendas. And at the end of the day, sometimes you're just laying in bed before you fall asleep and you're like, fuck, man, I don't know what I believe. I don't know what's actually happening. I don't know what actually is real. Like, what's the matrix and what's not? It's confusing. But overall, I'm going to say this is my favorite so far. I feel like it just encapsulates the best of what I've heard from Evanescence. And I haven't heard every single album. I think I've heard the first one. And then recently, well, not recently, a couple of years ago, I did an album reaction. I think there was a pill or something on it. That was a really fucking cool album, actually, by the way, now that I think about it. I think it's available here on YouTube. So you can search for that. If not, it's on my Patreon. I'll try and find it, put it on YouTube for you guys. But yeah, this is my favorite so far. Very cool. Who will you follow? Fuck, man. We all got to pick our team. We got to be tribal about this shit, You left or right. You blue or red, Fuck, man. What the hell happened to us? All right, Rapture. Spooky. I'm spooked. All right, I'm going to pause it right here, and I hate doing that. You probably noticed I don't pause during the songs. I don't want to start fuck the flow, and we'll rewind it so we can get back into the groove of this thing, because obviously this is a fluid moving piece, and stopping and starting is going to fucking ruin it. And I apologize, but I just have to stop and point out one thing. Yeah, we'll just start the fucking song over, all right? We'll get back in the groove here. But this is exactly what I was talking about, and losing some of that high end, some of that sizzle. There seems to be a good, playful, jazzy hi-hat work happening here. It's totally lost in the mix, and it's just coming across as clicks, almost coming across as kind of synthetic. And I understand we are using electronic drums as well, but there is something playful happening here with the cymbals that we're kind of losing to the mix. So maybe you have to see this one live. All right, I'm starting it over, and I'm going to shut the fuck up, and we'll talk after the song. Maybe it is electronic. Fuck on the frequency.
Look at all the time that you wasted. You could put the fire out at any time. Too afraid to face it, got to fly higher. Try to keep the animal inside. One too many secrets to hide. I cannot hold on.
No symbol.
Make you wait in the altar. Heavy is the crown, body is the jewel. Money is the god that you must do. When will it be enough? You can't even look me in the eyes. Afraid of the reflection you find in mine. 'Cause I see right through your eyes. Soleil. How dark I find this summer night. And let it take me. Lifted my head with open eyes. You're not drawing all the tears that we cried. And I can feel the rapture.
What the fuck?
I'm giving back all the shame I carried for you. Now tell the truth, just like you taught me to. I saw light, had a dagger, flame this summer night. I let it take me, lifted my head with open eyes. You're drawing all the tears that we cried, and I can feel the rapture. Can you
Rapture. All right. Yeah, this one definitely tickles my inner goth kid. I like it. It's spooky. No, it's atmospheric. A couple of cool surprises on this one as well. All right. I forgot how fun it is checking out Evanescence for the first time. Oh my God. I mean, you think you got the structure down, you think you're recognizing all the patterns, and all of a sudden there's some kind of switch up here. Most notably on this one, to me, some of my favorite parts of it, outside of, I guess, that even that guitar solo at the end was really cool. Um, Again, I guess Amy's control, her delivery on this one. It feels vulnerable at some points. Again, switching between vulnerable and powerful. I don't know. She does such a good job of like making it seem like her vocals are so hesitant during certain parts. Like she's got a gun to her head. Like someone's like forcing her to say something. And she's like, all right, fine. This is what I'm going to say. But I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing, but I'm letting it out, to all of a sudden like saying, that line, that expression, to all of a sudden her be like, you know what? No, fuck it. I believe this. And then delivering the next one with power, which just like adds a beautiful dynamic to both aspects of the lines and how they're delivered. It's emotional, it's dramatic, it's poignant, and I feel like it just adds a cool, nice little round edge to it. Obviously, it does seem like they're doing, we've already talked a lot about the mastering technique, so I'm not going to beat that dead horse there. We are losing some of the cymbal work there, but that's all right because it's still nice and hard, and it's still keeping that groove factor there, nice and fresh with the tom and bass work here. The pocket so far on this album has been really good. They're keeping the groove factor alive while also keeping things nice and dramatic and powerful with the power chords into the choruses. Some cool switch ups, some cool reverses, some interesting crescendo effects as well. Not necessarily just the effects themselves, but like kind of how the song goes forward and backwards. It goes up in the next part, and then it feels like it just reverses itself and then jumps into a different part of the song. So it's kind of breaking the bars up a little bit. Not to be overused or anything to be, too discombobulating, because it's already kind of a discombobulated track. There's already a lot of things going on, but they are doing some fun little things that it's really cool to listen to for the first time. And to me, lyrically, this is just like, again, it seems like we're moving in a very fluid direction, like a linear direction about what she's talking about, possibly questioning who you cemented yourself with, like who, like, are you, looking back at like maybe yourself from, a bird's eye perspective and be like, oh my God, I almost, associate myself like a false God, and, reeling with that and stepping outside of the matrix, if you will, and kind of looking at her life or whoever this person she's talking about's life and saying, I fell into this trap, and, you've caused so much pain for me, but, when I was in it, I couldn't really see it, or I had a way to justify it. And that so far seems to be like, I guess so far the theme of this album is like, how do you justify, the things that you do? This is actually an interesting album when you think about kind of the concept. I had no idea if there was even a concept. I just wanted to hear some nostalgic Evanescence tunes. But it's just good to know that they're still out there, like talking about poignant subjects. Like it's good writing. Like lyrically, this is pretty damn good. And she seems to be asking some questions that I think are pretty cool, because I mean, you can come out and you can preach all you want. You can have a villain and a hero of a song, and it feels good to bash the villain and the hero, triumphs, and like everybody loves that story. It's why Hollywood exists. But like, I think the only way to get somebody to like kind of get out of the matrix a little bit, kind of like start to think about their own life, and not, you know, have somebody just like tell you something and then you automatically believe it, is to start getting you to just ask some questions yourself, and I think that's what this album is doing, is it's starting to at least get me to kind of ask questions and think about like her perspective. But rapture is an interesting way to describe it. All around a false god. Yeah, I feel like this one is like politically coded, but maybe that's just the way the world is right now, where it feels like everything is. But that's kind of the vibe I'm getting from it. But yeah, I really like this one. What's next? Oh, the afterlife. Oh man, are you guys fascinated with the afterlife? Fuck man, I watch so many videos all the time of like people that supposedly have died, and like what they saw on the other side and what it was like, and it's endlessly I get shivers thinking about it. It's crazy. All right, let's listen to the song. Afterlife.
Hide before the floodgates open. Can we just lie here till it's all over? I hear the violence coming, turn and run inside. You build your walls but can't forget the hate. You hide down to finally meet you in the
Whimsical.
I think you're finally broken. If we don't die here, we'll always be haunted. I feel the panic and everyone watching like to me. We've all been used and sold out truth for a sick fantasy. I'm holding on to unbelief. I see you in the
Love the cinematics.
Afraid to die. Today I'm not afraid to die.
Okay, I'm so glad that wasn't a fade out. I thought for a second they were gonna do a fade out there for a second. But cool. All right, Afterlife. Yeah, this one's pretty good, I suppose. I'm trying to think of like as the general theme of the album where it's going from here. I guess she's kind of like at a point where like there's confusion. She's obviously getting out of this comfortable situation to defy it, to be more true to herself, and she's reaffirming that she's going to be true to herself because she can be judged in the afterlife at this point. She's not afraid to die. She's not afraid to face any of the consequences of her life. That's one of like the crazy things about like it scares the hell out of me about the afterlife is like I've made so many mistakes in my life and done so many things that I'm not proud of that like you ever hear like your life flashes before your eyes when you die and like you're stuck with like this little mini movie of everything that you've done and people that I've watched these videos about that have supposedly died and come back, like they're all like, you don't just see it from the perspective of like you being an asshole or doing something stupid. You see it from the perspective of the people that you hurt and you feel like those feelings. So like anytime you've ever slighted somebody, like what kind of place it put them in. And you're supposed to like get a better grasp of like your impact as a human being with, other human beings. So like you could be having a conversation with somebody and like, as a group, and then you interrupt somebody, and like you think nothing of it. They, and the group thinks nothing of it. Like it's something that it just happens, and like the conversation goes on. But then in the afterlife, like you're hit with that emotion of like that person that you interrupted that feels like, oh, I guess my opinion isn't as valid as everybody else's. I guess I don't have anything anybody wants to hear about to be said. Oh, I guess I'm not as important as other people, and like you're struck with those emotions and everything. I don't know. It scares the hell out of me because who knows how many times we've all done stupid shit like that and like the impact it has on somebody else. But that's not what Amy is saying here. Amy's saying at this point, I've done what I think is right. The only thing I can do is just be true to myself and be the person that I know that I am and not be influenced by outside sources and find, what might be the purpose of life, which is just to find your actual true identity, who you actually are. Maybe that's what we're all doing here. It's like maybe it's the point of life is you're supposed to just figure out who the fuck you are, and then deal with the consequences of that journey when you die. And then maybe we just do it again. Maybe we get reincarnated and you just like experience yourself or experience life from every different angle, from every different perspective until you reach some sort of like enlightenment. And then I don't know, you just become like a diamond flying through space or some shit. Fuck if I know. But Amy is saying that she's very solid in her thought process of who she is, and she's comfortable with the fact that like I've made my choices. All I can do is be true to myself. I'm not afraid to die. I'm not afraid to face the afterlife and see what may come next because I believe in the things that I have done. Maybe that's the point of life. I don't know. Let's see what's next. Sanctuary, the title track. Okay.
I see the oceans rising higher and water. A war that's been raging years and years and ages and eternities. But now, we look to the blood-red sky and see what's been raining down all of this chaos on all of us. An illusion of power. A crumbling tower, a golden calf and a death wish for anyone who dares to see the obvious truth. The power is ours.
This is for the ones who gather strength in silence. It isn't over. It isn't over. This is for the ones who rise against your violence. It isn't over. It isn't over. Am I strong enough to believe? 'Cause I can't see you, but I can feel you there. Sanctuary, breathing and screaming out. No one's coming to save us.
Hell yeah.
Sufficient skin that for your sickness isn't over. This is for the living truth of our resistance.
Are us.
Over, we're taking it over.
Yes.
Sanctuary, breathing in, screaming out. No one's coming to save us. It doesn't scare me. I'm with you all the way down. Changed by the pain we know. We are the light in the all the love in your heart. Endless lies controlling every mind they infect. It's still not enough. It's never enough.
Oh shit. Oh yeah.
Sanctuary. No one's coming to save us. Sanctuary. Hold on to what you love. Sanctuary. Breathing in, screaming out. No one's coming to save us. It doesn't scare me. I'll be with you all the way down. Changed by the pain we know we
Okay, that's one of my favorites in the album right there. Sanctuary, very rarely is the title track the favorite for me as well. I feel like oftentimes artists they'll get a cool title in mind or something and then they'll have the title track, but it somehow still feels like disconnected from the rest of the album. Like it's its own special thing and every song was kind of written around it, but it's explored different ideas where like by the time the album's finished and you get to that title track, it feels like, sorry, feels like something completely different than the rest of it. Anyway, yeah, this one is awesome, and I love like the it's not just like a defiant nature of all this or like a scared nature of all this. Like it can be like a scary, wild, weird world out there, and sometimes you just want to run and you want to fucking hide and you want to lock yourself in your house and just like get rid of the outside world. Trust me, I completely understand and empathize with that. I do that shit a lot. But this song seems to be more about community and about embracing people and not necessarily just being afraid of the chaos but embracing the chaos and to some degree, not necessarily like believing it or whatever, or like saying, yeah, fuck it, let's all burn it down, anarchy, which I'm also kind of a proponent for. But like, it's more about like embracing the chaos from a perspective of like, I see what's happening. We're coming together as a community, us together, this group here together. We generally believe this specific thing and we understand the chaos. And while we find it scary, we're going to embrace it together as something that we disbelieve as something that is not true. And I guess every community does that, right or wrong community, but you need to find your people. You need to find your community. And it's so important. I'm going to tell you a story that like is going to seem really weird in the middle of an Evanescence reaction, but I feel like it's fresh in my mind right now. And it's something I just dealt with over the past couple of days. And it gets me thinking about community and how important community is. And it comes from a band called BTS. I know. Some of you guys are looking at me like, what the fuck are you doing, Jim? Just hear me out for a second. I just worked an event where BTS just performed for 2 nights straight in a theater, or not a theater, I'm sorry, an arena, sports arena, a stadium, whatever the fuck they're called nowadays. I don't know. And it was interesting to see because I know quite a bit about BTS. I've heard all of their music through reactions and studied this band and have a deep understanding of BTS's, cultural movement and what it means to people. And I have my own feelings about BTS, but I still definitely respect the hell out of these guys. And it was interesting meeting these people and seeing thousands of these BTS fans dressed in interesting garments that I knew exactly what they were, that from an outsider, like looking at these people, they're kind of like slighting them and making fun of them in some kind of degree, or just like shocked by some of like the looks or whatever, even though I don't find it too shocking. And I talked to a good amount of people that just had no idea culturally what was happening when this concert came to town, and we would be flooded with thousands of these BTS fans. And it just like it was empowering, and it was cool to me to see so many people come together that were completely strangers, but they had found their people. They had found their community. They had immediately had this connection together where like they knew that they could be kind and be vulnerable with one another and everything was going to be okay. And I remember getting the looks that I would get from a lot of these people walking around, where I'd go to talk to them or whatever, and they'd be like kind of apprehensive at first. They're like, "What is this fucking dude doing talking to me? Like, what was about to happen here?" And it wasn't until like I kind of opened up about them and I'd say, "Hey, this is my favorite song," or "What are you excited to see?" or like whatever, that the demeanor completely changed. It was like them saying, "Oh, hey, you're one of us. You're one of the community." And it opened up, and it was such like a gratifying experience to see somebody go from guarded to a place of complete comfortability and peace because they knew that we shared some of the same values. What I'm getting at here is community is important. It's so easy to be a hermit and lock yourself away, and like I said, I'm guilty of that. But finding the right people and embracing the chaos together is really the only way to move forward from any sort of trouble that you're dealing with. Everything is so much easier if you have the right people to talk to and support you, and that you can support in return. I feel like now more than ever, we're so disassociated from one another, probably just due to social media and us being on our own world and doom scrolling in some kind of way, that it can be kind of a lonely existence, right? You ever feel that way? Like all of a sudden, like, fuck, I'm sitting in a room alone, talking to you. Nothing wrong with that, but like, I'm just saying, I feel like we've begun to live this isolated experience, and it's been that way for a while now. And I think it's kind of breaking our hearts to some degree. It's breaking our hearts because the community that maybe, we were once maybe a part of has dissolved, or we don't see the same people the same way anymore, or life is just, it beats the hell out of all of us. And, we don't have the time to have like these gatherings together, but it's important to find bonds, to find people that you align with, and to, express yourself and help each other out. And that's what seems like Amy's talking about here. It's embracing the chaos through community and persevering. This is like a true point. Like, I feel like the whole album has been pretty defiant up until this point, but at this point we're reaching like the perseverance section of this album, where she's just moving forward in a way that like it feels triumphant. I like this one. This is actually one of my favorite tracks of the album so far. And sonically, it's fantastic. Beautiful. I was not expecting such great writing, honestly. I thought we'd be talking about some crunchy riffs and maybe some cool grooves and some dramatic crescendos or whatever, but maybe some cool cinematics. Evanescence is known for that, but this is tickling my nostalgic itch and also some great writing. How do I heal? Is the question.
Fading out, down enough to drown. Till you poured the light over me. Breathe again, find the water's edge. You're the wave, you're the voice. Stop and stare with the wind whipping my hair. Let the tears slip down silently. You gave me the words to say when I was so afraid. You let me in, you set me free. Caught in the space in between, I know you're by my side. How do I heal? I can feel you with me still. Promise I will never know. 'Cause I'll never let you go. Years gone by, wild and overgrown, and I'm on my way. 'Cause you're calling me home. No matter how we change, echoes of us remain untouched by time. In my mind, how do I heal? I can feel you with me still. Promise I will never know. 'Cause I'll never let you go.
Oh, come on, dude. Oh, God. Amy does such a great job at this. Jesus. Yeah, this one seems deeply personal. Is it about losing a person? Is it about something? I don't know what it is. We can all. It could be any fucking thing. I'm not going to speculate on what exactly she's healing from, but she's asking the question is like, how do I move on? How do I heal from this? This is something that happened to me that I'm going to live with for the rest of my life. This is now a part of me. This is a scar that I wear. You know, um, and she's just asking herself, how do I heal from this? Because I'm never going to be the same. But the delivery on it, I was hoping we get a track like this because some of my favorite Evanescence angles that I've seen, and as I said, I haven't heard every album. I probably should swing around and just check out every album at this point, just see what the fuck they've been up to. Um, but some of my favorite performances in aspects and angles of this band is simply just Amy and a piano. And I know that's not what this is. There's some beautiful, dramatic, heartfelt cinematics to all of this that definitely add to it all. It gives it a different layer, an interesting dynamic. But like, I don't know, something about Amy just behind a piano and just like bearing her soul has always done it for me. It feels refreshing to a certain point because it doesn't seem like there's ever a clear answer to any of it. And even on this album, it's the same. You're left with so many vague aspects of things that you could apply to your own life and things that feel more communal, even though this feels like a deeply personal song about a very specific instance she's talking about with an issue with what I'm imagining is her losing somebody that she loves. It's written from a perspective that you could apply this to anything in your own life. Almost like these songs are written in that way, where they're deeply personal. I think to the people writing them. I'm not sure if Amy writes all the music or if the band's involved in any kind of way. But it also just feels like it could be used by anybody. Like it's a communal experience. I wonder if that's what they're doing here. But this was awesome. This was gorgeous. And we heard some interesting tones on this one too. Some more whisper tones and everything from Amy. And then switching into that, like, I don't know. It's difficult to kind of pinpoint her tone in general. It's like it feels modulated, but it never is. Like it feels like there's something kind of synthetic going on because she just holds like a certain note or a key and then kind of like corrects herself through pitch, but it still stays like on like in key, it's just kind of, it's very indicative to her sound. It's very unique. I love this one. It's heartfelt. It's personal. It's beautiful. This is another one of my favorites. How do I heal? All right, what's next? About Us. You know what's surprising is like how kind of like industrial-esque this album has been so far. I think that's why people are saying like it's like nostalgic to some degree, because some of like the patch notes or just the sounds they're choosing to use, like the patches, which is what keyboard sounds are, is very present in like the style of like 90s 2000 industrial, you know, and that mixed together with like the dirty bass. I like it.
Everything you wanted, everything you needed, twice as much and only half of the time. Put the money down first, baby, pushing back hurts when you go to get in line. This is what you wanted, right? Nobody moves, nobody dies. Children better run and hide. Daddy's got a gun and you'll caviar ice. Baby, pour the wine. There will be done. There will be done. Till kingdom come. If that ever comes, I feel so numb under your thumb. I feel so numb. They don't give a damn about us. Your pretty tears are going to waste. You dug a grave for both of us. And now it's too late. 'Cause you got what you want. Now bow down to your God. And no, he doesn't give a damn about us. And I'm done trying to save you. Push a little harder, push a little farther out the panic in the back of your mind. Bodies in the crossfire, empathy's a vampire. Truth for sale and saviors for hire. This is what you wanted, right? Choking on ash, sipping Kool-Aid. Better lock your door tonight. Help will never come, but we sure gonna pray. This is your night. There will be done. There will be done. Till kingdom come. If that ever comes, I feel so numb under your thumb. I feel so numb. They don't give a damn about us. Your pretty tears are going to waste. You dug a grave for both of us. And now it's too late. 'Cause you got what you want. Now bow down to your God. And no, he doesn't give a damn about us. And no one's gonna save you.
Excuse me. Dude. All right, this album's a lot better than I thought it was going to be, honestly. I was just expecting to kind of come in here and just, this is the first video I'm doing of the day. I'm like, this will be fun. This will be a nice little warm up for the other things that I need to talk about. Plus, I haven't heard Evanescence in a while, and people say it's pretty good. I was not expecting this kind of album. It appears Evanescence is trying to create some kind of fucking uprising here, and I'm 100% on board for it. This is about, again, working with community and understanding. You know, they're saying you have to see it from like a perspective of like, instead of using I, us, you know, she's using, you know, instead of in self terms of like me, you know, we, like she's talking about a collective of people saying like the powers that be truly just don't give a damn about us. We have to see this. We have to understand this. And it appears the direction that we're going, like we're both going to be in the same fucking grave. We're, you know, like, you know, what's that quote that's like, I always refer back to, it's like, humanity is like the dumbest thing. Like they're stupid enough to like try and save money on saving themselves. It's going to kill everybody. I forget the exact quote. I'm going to butcher it, so I'm not even going to try. But it's something along those lines. Like we wouldn't save ourselves because it wasn't cost effective. And it's like, it kind of feels like that, you know? And I think this is really about just taking a look at the powers that be, you know, whatever you believe the powers that be are, and questioning them and saying, do they actually care? You know, are these people actually there to help us, or are they just enriching themselves? And like, I don't know. I think now it seems a little bit more transparent with who's trying to enrich themselves. And I'm sure everybody has an angle. And, you know, I think it's important not to align yourself with anybody 100% because people are people and they either make mistakes or they also can get greedy, especially when you're in a position of power. But now it's getting to the point where it just seems like the population is just getting rug pulled, you know? Certain people that control the narrative or, you know, that control the government, you know, making billions off of crypto and like pardoning people that like rug pulled thousands of other people to enrich them. Like I'm trying not to make this political, but this album seems to be leaning in that direction to some degree. And it's enraging. It really is. But it's asking us some questions. And it seems to be about like kind of coming out of the fog yourself. And part of like coming out of the fog yourself is you have to ask yourself some difficult questions. The things that you thought were right, the values that you aligned yourself with, the people that you thought had your best interest in mind. Do they? Or were you just fed a narrative? You know, and it sucks. It sucks when you have to think that because you just feel like it's almost a loss of self. It's a loss of like your own identity, because to some degree a big part of your identity is like, who do you align with? Like, which party are you from? And you know, as much as like I kind of, you know, I'm not a big fan of tribalism and like aligning yourself to somebody that is you consider almost like a god, that they can do no wrong. You know, there's an interesting angle to this album that community is still important. You still need to have people that you support and they support you as well. It's just you have to have the wherewithal to see every perspective, come to your own conclusions, you know, gather the best evidence that you can and try and truly understand what is happening without having one source that is like the ultimate source. You know, Fox News is not the ultimate source. CNN is not the ultimate source, you know, like your local newspaper is not the ultimate source. And it's more confusing and disillusioning now than like it's ever been. I get it. I understand. Trust me. But like this one is more about like coming together as a community, recognizing the chaos, standing up to it, and realizing that like maybe these people that you thought cared actually don't. And that's a tough pill to swallow for a lot of people. You know, trust me, I'd love to just spend 2 hours shitting on Donald Trump. But like even some people like in my side of the party, like you listen to what they're doing and what they're saying, and then you see what's happening behind closed doors, and you're like, Jesus, man, like on the surface level, it seems like you're trying to help everybody out. And you've got like that peace, love, and understanding kind of mindset, which, you know, my values kind of align with. But the reality of the matter is like, you're still enriching yourself behind closed doors. And like, who knows what else is happening? We just don't. Yeah, this album seems to be about coming out of the fog and just having some hard conversations with yourself and where you sit and where you align. And how to find yourself and your people. This might be my favorite track on the album so far. I think just from start to finish, sonically, there's enough twists and turns and dynamics to this that make it, you know, cinematically interesting and Again, a little nostalgic with some of like the industrial gothic elements, but also beautiful with some of the root notes in the piano. And Amy obviously has just killed it with captivating and commanding vocals the entire way through that make it feel seamless and triumphant without being too ballad-esque either. You know, I guess in its sense, it is kind of almost like a ballad, but it feels more triumphant. I like this one. This whole album is very defiant. I'm very surprised by this one. Calm down. Oh, Jesus Christ. The one thing you can say to a woman to immediately make her not calm down. Amy Lee writing a song called Calm Down. Oh, it just never works. It never works. All right. You got to think of like a million different ways to say like calm down in the nicest possible way. That does not sound like calm down. That is the only way to work around. I guess with anybody, it's not just women. I shouldn't just generalize that, but like with anybody, I think if you, yeah, I'd be pissed off if I was upset and somebody told me to calm down. Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm being kind of sexist here. Nobody likes being told to calm down. All right. We all want to calm up. We all want to turn up. Menacing.
Is this the end of the world, or is it just another night? You think you're better without me, baby? Say it while you look in my eyes. So busy thinking all about yourself, you walking over everybody else so you can stay high. But baby, it's alright. You can calm down, calm down, calm down.
Love the accent melody.
Just calm down, calm down, calm down. It's a fire. I think I'm gonna let it burn. Things they only answer because you refuse to learn. You never take it any other way. So go ahead and assume you won the game and let your money run.
Love the bell.
It already all falls on you, so you can calm down, calm down, calm down. Yeah, you can calm down, calm down, calm down.
This is so 9 Inch Nails.
Where would you be without me?
Oh my gosh. All right. Definitely a Nine Inch Nails feel to this one. You know what I've always would be really cool actually is like Trent Reznor does like some cool collaborations with people. You know, he did it with Halsey for an album I thought was pretty good. If I can't have love, I want power, I think it was called. Pretty damn good. And it almost hit the mark for me. Nothing wrong with it, but like she had fantastic, strong vocals, and I was really just hoping for that. I love Nine Inch Nails, is what I'm trying to say. It's been a huge, massive inspiration through everything I've done musically. And it was like my first major fascination with an artist and trying to almost even replicate that sound and just find my own thing. And obviously, I'm not alone on that one either. But one thing I've never really enjoyed about Nine Inch Nails, and I always get shit about this, is like the vocals, you know? Like, if we could have like that kind of landscape, that kind of like emotional, like that kind of like intensity you get from Nine Inch Nails, that kind of contrast you get from that music, but like with somebody that's a more competent vocalist, like it'd be like absolutely perfect. And like Amy Lee would fucking kill it. And we get a little taste of it here because this is kind of what sounds like some groovier Nine Inch Nails. It's ironic the song is called Calm Down because the song is absolutely relentless. It is just pulsing and massive. And yeah, I think vocally it's pretty good as well. But I think this one is just fun for me to listen to. What is she talking about lyrically? Yeah, I feel like this one is sarcastic. I feel like she's like, somebody told her to calm down. And now she's like, well, hey, if you want me to save you, want me to show you the way, like, you got to fucking calm down. I don't know. I could be totally wrong. I don't know. I don't really get it. I guess I got kind of lost in the cinematic landscape of this one. That was awesome though. Yeah, this is a very surprising album so far. What's next? Speaking of Nine Inch Nails. Speaking of Nine Inch Nails, the next track is called Self Destruct. Like Mr. Self Destruct? Okay. All right, whatever. I'm down. I'm game. Here we go. You know, I think I got it. It's like, you know what it is? It's like a mixture between some earlier Stabbing Westward. I don't know if you guys know that band. They're not really, they had a couple of hits. So I've always liked them. Stabbing Westward with Nine Inch Nails with its own little flair. I'm trying to like figure out like what kind of like sound design they're invoking on this. But it's still like kind of their own thing as well. It really just comes to like just some interesting tones, you know, because like melodically it's its own thing. All right, let's start it over. I'm going to shut up for this one.
Can't you see the signs? Blurred lines, no money, no peace. Don't believe your eyes, you're sick like me. You want my advice, no shame, don't look away now. We all have a role to play, so take the stage. Is this what you want it to be? Are we gonna die before you get enough? You get enough together. Which one hits you harder? The truth or the gun? This is how we celebrate.
Still not a fade out. Fuck yeah, man. Nice. All right, Self Destruct. Another one of my, you know what? There's really only been one song I've been kind of iffy about. No, I've liked every song. I guess just Calm Down is one I didn't really understand. Maybe the Afterlife, maybe? Rapture? I don't know. Oh, we only got a couple left here. Okay, let's talk about Self Destruct. I love it, man. This is leaning more in towards like electronic symphonic metal, which is very cool. Some other twists and turns in this one as well. I like how we jumped out of the bridge right back to like the ending phrases of the verse instead of jumping into the chorus again. Just when you think you're starting to predict some patterns, you really can't. And speaking of predicting patterns, that seems to be what this song is all about. Again, kind of the same themes here. So like the album is less linear. Well, I guess it kind of is. I don't know if it's in order. I don't know. Well, so far I guess it is kind of. But it's like it's just really asking us, like the thematically this album, like it's asking us like, well, to recognize these patterns and to think for yourself and to find your people and make solace of it. Like I guess that's what it is. But sonically, this one was just fantastic. Yeah, the electronic, electro, goth, industrial thing. Obviously, I enjoy. All right, I'm a child of the '90s, so you know I'm into that kind of thing. But like, it tickles that nostalgic itch for me. And then it also adds some awesome cinematic levels to this as well. It's crunchy, it's dancey, it's fun, it's dramatic, it's everything all rolled up into one. Great delivery from Amy as to be expected. Projections are absolutely perfect, powerful and dynamic. I mean, what else can you say? I mean, it's just fucking fun, dude. And a couple great bangers in this one too. Which hits you harder, the truth of the gun? This is how we self-destruct. Yeah, I think it just like I feel like it's an anxiety we're all looking at. Like it just feels like we're all just waiting for like the next thing that's gonna like fucking devastate us in some degree. I feel like ever since 9/11, once 9/11 happened, like there was a huge shift in society. I don't know where you were with 9/11. Tell me in the comments. But for me, where I was during 9/11 is I was in school. I was like in high school or something. And I think I was probably a senior. I was probably whatever. And like a lot of kids, they brought the TV in there and we saw everything that kind of happened. And I feel like that was the moment that shit really started hitting the fan and everything became kind of uncertain for us. After that, we got the housing crisis and the financial crisis and then COVID. And like, we've just been hit with so many of these like, you know, time altering things over the last 20, 30 or 25 years, 26 years at this point that like, or 25 years. So like, we're just used to like we're all anticipating like the next great thing that's going to happen that's going to take us down. So like there is some anxiety, but also like it just feels more uncertain now than it ever has. You know, we're just hearing about crazier and crazier shit that's happening, not even just with like my little corner of the world over here in America, but like, you know, overseas as well. Like, and we're so used to like the news moving so fast. Like think about like Russia and Ukraine. Like nobody's even talking about that shit anymore. Like it's just not, at least here in America, like you don't hear about it. I'm like, there's still like a lot of people dying every single fucking day. They're still volleying drones at each other. Like they just had a drone that flew off from Ukraine that like went off course or whatever, like blew up over a beach and killed kids over there. Like I don't know. I just feel like we're all just waiting for the next big thing. What's the next 9/11? What's the next financial crisis? What's the next COVID? What is it going to be? And we're all on tenterhooks, just like anticipating it. And all the while, we keep seeing these other things that creep into our lives and we like creep into our news cycles, into our algorithms. That makes it seem like we're slowly unraveling. And we're all just asking, like, when do we finally just self destruct? When do we just finally it's just that's the end of us? What is the big one? What's the next big thing that's going to happen? You know, I think hers is more deliberate in what she's talking about and about a specific thing and a specific, you know, people in power and how to recognize those things and how to think for yourself. And it's defiant in its way too, where it's like, this is dangerous for an artist to do, especially an artist that's been around for as long as Evanescence, you know, 20 plus years at this point, to kind of draw your line in the sand kind of moment here, because you're essentially alienating half of your fans, you know? And that's why I feel like this is like an exciting record for me to cover, because it seems like they don't give a shit. It seems like they're like, you know what, we're going to alienate a lot of our people. Unfortunately, a lot of people that probably, you know, were into us at one point or, you know, have been into us for years. And I'm going to say some things that is going to make you not want to like me, you know, because you are aligned to a certain person, a certain party, a certain tribal experience that doesn't allow you to think for yourself or allow you to think critically in any kind of way, that if the person in power says something is bad because something negative was said about that person, you can't like that thing. And it's scary for a lot of people right now that, rely on the public for their funds or like whatever, because nobody wants to alienate anybody. Everyone wants to be, in the straight and narrow, just like, okay, whatever, I don't want to talk politics. And even I said I don't want to talk politics, but like, I don't think anybody from the right really follows me. I mean, if they do, they get angry. I hear about it in the comments and then they unsubscribe real quick. But like, to do this from a perspective of an artist that's been out there for 20 years and all of a sudden maybe they've talked about this more in other albums. I just don't know. But definitely right now, they're definitely alienating what could be 50% of their fan base. And they don't seem to give a shit. They seem to be asking the more important questions in life. They seem to be putting integrity in the art. I'm respecting the hell out of this. Love that song. Self-Destruct. What's next? Forever Without You.
I've been running away from this source of light. This is the last tear falling. This is the last open door. We always knew we were down. I knew the moment you touched my hand. There was too much fire to hold, and no one else would understand. Burning out of control and screaming till we couldn't breathe. Crawling into your soul was the only way to save me. But I lost my mind. Thought I'd fall forever without you. Turns out forever without you is good for me. Promised I'd save you, but I'm not God. I was fucked up too. And when your eyes turned black, I prayed you'd never come back. I know you wanted me to ask you to stay. That was the one thing I would never say. And though you left that night, you're still here 'cause I'm still in the fight. To live or remember, forgive and forget her. I lost my mind. Turns out forever without you is what I need. Well, I stood my ground, and there was only one way that would ever go down. But when you said goodbye, you didn't know that I could fly. Well, neither did I.
All right, that might be one of the greatest songs of their discography right there. I mean, that is gonna. I mean, I don't know if that one's gonna be up there with the same popularity as like My Immortal or whatever, because of like how major that was, and I think that song was tied to a soundtrack or something, and that's why it got so exposure. But from start to finish, this might be one of Evanescence's most compelling songs here. The execution on this is absolutely flawless. And for one of the first times in this album, we actually get some layering from Amy's vocals. Very subdued, very muted, just enough to kind of like harmonize with herself for like maybe a second or two. And then her natural, clean vocals take off. Vocally, everything on this album has been as you would expect. You know, I mean, I guess I didn't know what to expect. I didn't know if her tone or projections would change with, just with time. Your voice just gets weaker over time. But it appears Amy is still in her fucking prime somehow, and she's still absolutely killing it. This woman must be drinking raw honey every single goddamn day. I don't know what she's doing to protect her voice, but it is still absolutely flawless. And this is, in my opinion, the strongest vocally on the album. And like I said, I've been very surprised with everything that's been on this album, but this is like spine tingling. Like this is something else. I mentioned before that some of my favorite Evanescence songs tend to be some of the stripped back ones, some of these more intimate and raw performances. And this one 100% is, I mean, slight cinematics, heavy piano, a little bit of sustain on her voice, a wide open atmospheric palette. Like this, it has it all. And it seems like lyrically she's talking about some raw things here as well. I'm assuming it's about, a dissolving relationship and the uncertainty of that and everything. And how heartbreaking it is. And it's something that still weighs on her mind. I mean, this could have been an issue from our childhood. It could have been from a friend. It could have been from a lover. It could have been from anybody that she had to cut ties with, and how it eventually was a good thing. But the fact of the matter is no matter how long ago this was, like she's still in the fight right now. She's still living with it. We're all in our own prisons. We're all in our own prisons of our mind, as we're laying in bed and your thoughts are spinning, and you all of a sudden something just snaps into your head, and you're just like, you're immediately cringing over it, or you're upset about something you said or you did, or something that doesn't even matter anymore. Like, and it immediately wakes you up and you can't sleep after that. I don't know if it happens to you guys, but it happens to me quite a bit. I'll be on the verge of falling asleep. That moment where things get warm and tingly. Your eyes feel heavy, and then all of a sudden you'll remember something stupid. What about that fight I had like 20 years ago? And I said this and I meant this, and like it's like, I don't know, like it's immediately you're like very present in the moment, and you're like your mind spins around it. We're all prisoners to ourselves. We're prisoners to our mind. We're prisoners to our thoughts, and it comes out of nowhere. Apparently this was a good situation for her to get out of. It was one of the best situations, and I think this is about a relationship or departing of friends or something from a long time ago, because of this last line here. You didn't know that I could fly, and neither did I. So I think this is about her before something major happened in her career, or she was more self-assured with herself, or more, confident in any kind of way, some kind of turning point. And she's still battling it now. She's still grieving from it now. She's still dealing with it now, just like we always are, You could have a falling out with a friend that you've had for years, and a blowout or whatever, and you can push that shit into the pit of your stomach, and you can say, I'm over this shit. I'm fucking over you. Fuck you. You're an asshole kind of thing. But the reality is, it's like, that's not who we are as people. We want to demonize each other. We always want that villain. We want somebody that can be like, oh, you're just the ultimate asshole, and fuck you. I hate you. But the reality is like, I don't believe that's how people are. I think we're all just generally good people. You know, we're just a little misinformed from time to time. We all want the best for ourselves and for others. And I think we all generally, like in our hearts, still want to take care of everybody. We want to be taken care of and we want to take care of everybody. And that's why, like, all this fucking noise that comes at us all the time, that's like telling us that there's two crazy sides here. There's this civil war amongst humanity that's happening, you know, and that anxiety that's creeping in. You think something big, the next big thing is about to happen. Like, it feels more manufactured. I think generally we're good people, you know. We generally we love each other. We don't. Nobody wakes up and goes out and walks out and sees a stranger across the road and thinks, I hope that person gets hit by a car. I hope that person fucking dies. You know, I hope that car crashes. You know, I hope that building catches on fire. I think, yeah, there's some sickos and some crazy people in the world, but I think like the mass majority of all of us just like want the best for everybody. I gotta believe that. Otherwise, like, what's the point? But I think we've just been fed for so long that like it's not, that there's two, that like we're two at each other's throat and we have to pick each other's teams. That's not exactly what this song is about. The song seems to be about something a little bit more personal, but I feel like it's also at the point right now where you can take stock from what we've learned from this album and the general theme of this album and apply it to things in your life. And the way I'm applying this song to the theme of the album and things in my life, I think more in lines of economically and politically and socially as they appear before us today, where maybe some of us have had to let go of some friends, you know, had to cut ties with some people because our values didn't align. Maybe even a family member, you know, and it's easy, like I said, to say there's a villain, they're a villain, but in your heart, you know, they're not a villain. You know that they're not, you know, maybe you misalign you disagree with some things that are seriously, you know, kind of like intense subjects and things that like you truly believe with your heart and they don't believe that, or vice versa. But I don't think that we all think that that person is evil. We're just stuck in our own feedback loops, I guess. It's just sad. That's how I apply this to the theme of the album and what I see and everything. You know, even some friends that tend to be, you know, on a different side of the political spectrum than I am. You know, I've tried to kind of try to like mend ways a little bit. I think we're a little nervous of each other, you know, and I think the relationship will never be the same since things have played out and happened and there's been blowouts and things like that. But I think we're still at a civil place together where we're like, we're going to say something, but we'll kind of backpedal a little bit, not to upset or go over the line in any kind of way. And it sucks that we've gotten to that point. It sucks that we let so many outside noise sources come into our lives and divide us as people. When in reality, yeah, some of the issues are major, but like, I don't think we're that close to killing each other as we think. I don't know, it's just me. But anyway, Forever Without You, I think might be the best song on this album and possibly one of the best songs of their career. I love this one. What's next? Wait, is this the last one? Hold on. Yeah, okay. Jesus, man. This album is a fucking roller coaster, man. All right, we got one more track on this album. How does it all tie together? Is there an ending theme to this? Is there any sort of cohesion between it? Oh my God. I always get so nervous when I'm listening to the last track of an album, especially with an album that's been as well written as this one, lyrically. And I just hope it's not its own thing. I hope it's something that at least ties within the theme. Let's see.
Right here, all alone. It's been here, reawakened after so long. Out from inside, after all, I'm still alive. This is the end, the beginning, the space between. Facing the weight of the world with a wide open heart, awaiting the fate of the world. Are we finally Sweet dreams fade away, disappear in the rush of a hurricane. And I know I'm only dust, but you can't kill real love. That's the one thing they can't touch. Facing the weight of the world with the wide open heart, awaiting the fate of the world. Are we letting it all just fall apart? When you lean into the pain, you find out who you are. Don't let it go to waste, 'cause we're facing the weight of the world with the wide open heart. Shine a light that's still left in us. Facing the weight of the world with the wide open heart, awaiting the fate of the world. Are we letting it all just fall apart? When you lean into the pain, you find out who you are. Don't let it go to waste, 'cause we're facing the weight of the world with the wide open
Not one fade out on this album. All right. Can we just mention that for a second before we even talk about anything else? Not one goddamn fade out. Okay. All right. Wide open heart. Okay, so I'm pleasantly surprised. Not surprised. I'm pleased. I'm pleased that we don't have a track that feels like it's something else that this album hasn't been leaning towards the entire way through, because there's a real cohesion and fluidity to this album that we're going to talk about here in just a second. But before I do, if you've made it this far with me in the album, please do me a favor, like, subscribe. I know it's annoying. I don't sell you guys stuff. I'm not going to advertise a product. I'm not going to tell you to buy some shit. Just help me out in the algorithm, guys. I appreciate it. Okay, let's talk about the true fluidity and the true fluidity of this album and the connection between themes, because there are many, and I feel like they're right there in the front and center, and it's pretty easy to follow for the most part without having too many hidden metaphors that can be too vague where it takes things off the rail. I feel like there is some cohesion here where she's talking about some real things that everybody is dealing with, while at the same time keeping things incredibly personal to her own experience. I think she's reminding us that our experiences, although we live wildly different lives probably, are more connected than it may seem. Topics of isolation, confusion, community, love, finding yourself within the mix, letting go of toxic relationships of some kind, and embracing self is the main core of this album. It's about lifting yourself from the fog, stepping outside of the matrix, making this decision that is not the most comfortable thing and the most known situation or thing, and embracing the chaos, but doing it all with an open heart. And that's why this last track I think is absolutely beautiful, because it ties it together in that way. We talked a lot about the toxicity and the intensity and the dreariness and the pain and the malice that life can provide you. But there was still always like this triumphant undertone of hope to every single one of these songs, if not even in the lyrics, but in the sonic direction of the album, especially our songs, the execution. Do you know what I mean? Like there was this hidden tone that was kind of industrial, kind of gothic, kind of groovy, definitely hard, and as to be expected, incredibly powerful from Evanescence. But even in the dreary moments, there was always like this beautiful glimmer of hope to all of this. And I'm glad that we got that here towards the end, because that's what she's saying. it can be easy to relish and find yourself stuck in a place that is just depressing. And you can see all these things and find yourself spiraling out, in your own mind, in your own prison. But the reality is the only option, the only real option any of us have is to face it all with an open heart. Because I think Amy was actually expressing what I was expressing through this album on the last track, that she believes people are probably, for the most part, pretty decent too. Like that there isn't the majority of us aren't evil. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, we'll have serial killers and we'll have fucking people setting fires or some shit, but like, they're the few and far between, and we're not as divided as it seems. And the only way to get anything out of life, to get any sort of like true, real experience, is like you can't go through life with hate in your heart. You have to embrace the good, the bad, the beautiful, and the ugly, all with an open heart, and be prepared and willing and ready to deal with the consequences of it all, because none of it comes free. None of it comes without consequences. And maybe that's the point of life. I don't know if that's the point of this album. Is it supposed to be the what's the point of life kind of thing? But this album has got me questioning some bigger topics and some bigger questions. You know what I mean? It's got me thinking of the deep stuff here. But the reality of it is it's saying go into all these experiences, but don't try to do it from a place that is not 100% negativity. It's easy to jump on the negativity train, and negativity attracts negativity. And it's a learned skill to practice, at least for me, maybe not for you. I can't speak for everybody, but for me, when I get so wrapped up in a certain topic that angers me or makes me sad, or makes me have some sort of like visceral reaction to whatever it is that I'm talking about, it can be difficult to dig myself out of that spiral. You get stuck there. And for me, I have to practice and go back and not empathy, but like, no, just relax and, try and find a more, not cautious, but like soft way to approach it that makes sense to both yourself and to whoever's expressing their crazy thing. And sometimes it works, and sometimes I'm just too angry, and sometimes it's just too ridiculous, and I can't fucking get over it because someone's just trying to rage bait me or something. But it's the only way to do it. And I think we have to practice. We have to practice going into situations with an open heart, because I think now more than ever, I think we're all just a little bit anxious, a little on guard, a little uneasy. And we're all just kind of like waiting on the edge of the rope there for like the next big crazy thing that's going to happen that might just fucking end it all. But the only way to appreciate life or go through it in any kind of like real way is to do it with an open heart. And sometimes you got to practice doing it. I think that's what she's saying on the album. I think that's what she's saying with the last one, Wide Open Heart. Now, I think I've heard maybe a total of 3 Evanescence albums. The first one some years ago when it first dropped. And then I don't even know what the other one's called. Let me just look up over here, see if I can find it. If I just go to Evanescence, I'll recognize the album cover. Not that one, not that one, not that one. Albums. How do I look at them all? Oh, is this one over here? So I listened to the 2021 album, The Bitter Truth. This is a badass album. I remember really liking this one as well. So I guess I just didn't listen to. Oh wait, all right, cool. I'm actually up to date. I just haven't really heard too much of the earlier stuff. Maybe we could do that. It'd be cool to see maybe a live show or something. If you guys can recommend a live concert that has some great audio, I'd be willing to check that out and maybe share that with you guys. I don't know if I can put it on YouTube. I might have to put that on Patreon. Oftentimes those things get blocked. But if you can recommend an awesome live performance, a full concert, I'd check that out. And also if you have any recommendations for any other open albums, Open Door. You have 10-6. I haven't heard that one. Anywhere But Home. Haven't heard that one. All right, so Fallen, that must be the original one. Okay, so I guess I'm only missing like 2 or 3 albums. Yeah, let me know what album I should do next from Evanescence, and also a good live performance to check out with Evanescence. I don't care from what era, what decade, as long as it's got good audio and it's a good performance. Well, guys, that's going to do it for me. Hopefully you enjoyed hanging out. And like I said, if you've made it this far and you've enjoyed hanging out, please consider liking and subscribing. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye now.